What's up, guys? Dark Ruler here, aka Blackheart909. Welcome to my Quest 3 video, and today we're going to be discussing a game called EarthQuest. Well, it's not really a game, it's an application. And we do have quite an interesting story about how I found out about this. I was looking at this Reddit post that basically said, "What's the best walking game in VR?" And under that post, I noticed a comment that looked kind of like something that I thought a bot would write. And I did end up writing a message there saying, "Hey, did you just make this post and comment down here to promote your game?" To which the dev of this game called me out on and said, "No, I actually do have a game called EarthQuest EQ, and I was sharing information here and asked me to be more careful when I criticize people online, which is fair." Um, After this, I spoke to the dev and I apologized for calling them out like this, and then I asked them if I was able to receive a review code for the game, which is quite interesting. Sorry, I'll just switch to full screen very quickly because this dev was super helpful and actually said, "Yes, we'd love for you to feature our game on your channel," which is small. My channel is super small. And they actually allowed me this opportunity to basically look at their game, look at their app, and give you some feedback on it and show you about this. So, this is EarthQuest. It's an app where you can go around the world, look at different places, look at different things, and basically explore as if you were there. So there's a couple of things you can do here. First, let me just show you guys that you can create a multiplayer room and explore the planet with your friends, which is super cool. I haven't tried that yet. But you can also enter single player. There's a settings menu down here which you can change snap and smooth turning. By the way, guys, I did receive a code for this game, but I'm in no way sponsored by this uh, company or channel, or it's probably just one dev, I think, as far as I know. There's also comfort vignettes. You can change from 72 to 90 hertz, which is really nice. And I've set the motion to thumbstick motion, which works for me once I learned how to use it. So there's a mixture of directional controls with your hands. Wherever your left hand is pointing is where you'll move. And you can also use the thumbsticks to rotate around a little bit. So yeah, let's just enter a single player instance, and I just want to tell you guys that my use case for this is going to be to check out a few features. One of them, which I'm really interested in, is time travel. So you can actually go down into Street View and time travel back in time on the same street and see how it looked a few years ago. And I also just want to show you guys a few of the places I've been. I want to show you guys where I grew up. I want to show you guys where I went to university, and also probably a few of the countries I just traveled to recently. So let's enter single player really quickly. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Now, this game does feature 3D and 2D worlds, and I do feel like, so in the beginning I criticized this part about it the first time I used it, but I also realized that the amount of data you have to deal with for an app like this is ginormous. So sometimes I feel like that the textures load in quite a little bit slower for me. Maybe it's my settings. Oh, we had a crash. Let's get back into it. Are we still streaming? Yeah. So guys, I don't blame this crash on EarthQuest. I did have to record this entire video once beforehand before I realized that it wasn't really recording properly because my screen ratio was too small. But anyway, let's go back into EarthQuest. So my quest has been on for quite a while. And like I was saying, there's so much data that you have to load, which adds variables. Like, I live in Qatar right now, and the data centers for these 3D blocks that's streaming in right now, since it's a small team, I don't know if they have data centers in the Middle East or Europe, or if they're only in North America, which would mean streaming might be a little bit slower or faster based on where you are and your internet speeds. I'm using a 1 gigabit connection right now, which should be pretty good generally, but it is variable, I'd say. This is quite a challenge to do. Now I know that there are other apps online. I've heard of Sky, and you can also check out Google Street View, which is similar to this, but not exactly the same. So here we're doing London. We're walking around in London. I was in London in October, actually, sorry, November last year. Um, and you can seamlessly switch between this 3D view and street view by pressing the Y or B button, or you can do it temporarily if you just bring it to your head like this. How cool is that? So you can look around and yeah, just basically check out places in London as if you were there. Now, this is something I was really excited about testing. This is called time travel mode. So you can double click the home menu and basically choose from any one of these dates to go back to. So let me see. I want to go back to 2008. Let's see what was different back here. Wow. So this is London in 2008. That's close to 15 years ago or more. I don't know. Um, People dress differently. That's a very nice looking lady there. And let's go a little bit forward in time. Let's go to 2016. Oh, oh, what happened to this street? So this restaurant looks like it opened up around around 2016. Was it here in 2014? No, it wasn't. Wow, okay. What happened in oh, this is 2012. Let's check 14. Bank of Indonesia is still over there. Giovanni's, and then people lost interest in Italian food, I guess. 2015. And then all of a sudden, Giovanni's. Okay, Giovanni's is still there, but the place next to it was replaced by this Chinese place. And then 2022, Giovanni's still standing strong, Bank of Indonesia, and the Szechuan restaurant and banqueting. But wait, hold on. Were they there back there too? No, it was an Italian restaurant. I think they just bought this other half of Giovanni's. Anyway, you can also continue to walk down the city. Apparently, if you hold down the right trigger, um, you can enable smooth motion where it would feel like I'm actually walking down. But I can't really seem to get that to work super well for me. This is probably the best I can do right now in terms of smooth motion because that's probably the interval at which this Google car is taking the pictures. Um, so yeah, let's get out of time travel mode first, and let's check out if we can um, look at some other options. So you can get into this how to play menu, and it gives you a few options like how you can fly into this game, how you can set up different terrain qualities and terrain loading strengths. You can also use hand tracking and point and move around, which I think is really cool. But honestly, guys, I'd rather just stick to the stuff I'm comfortable with, and I've finally figured out movement in this game. Um, so if you just read this, okay, I didn't do a lot of reading. Let me be honest. I didn't do a lot of reading, but the motion controls I found to be a little bit confusing the first time I used them. But now that realized that it moves where you point this controller, that made things a whole lot simpler for me. So this is London. Maybe this is the Shard. I don't know. It probably is. Maybe this is London Bridge. I was there. Let me see. Let me see if I could remember. This isn't London Bridge, is it? Maybe I was on the other side. Maybe there's just some bridge in London. Uh, maybe. No, this doesn't look like London Bridge, because then this would be Tottenham Market. Oh, there's a yacht club in London, and I wasn't invited. Can I get in? Wow. Okay, yeah, hold on. Let me get rid of the how to play. Yeah. Wow, okay. I didn't know this existed. Let's see how it looked a few years ago. So, where's my time machine? Hmm. Eh, for some reason, it's not giving me time machine right now. So maybe this area doesn't have the data from 2008 or so. Another thing that I wanted to point out to you guys is if you go into player scale and player settings, you can change your player scale. So when you go back into this 3D mode, you can actually turn into a giant if you try to. Like, oh, look at this little boat. Get out of my way. Yeah, you could do stuff like that. But if you really want to feel like a human being, you'd have to go to player scale human size. And now you could actually just shrink yourself down here. If the textures were a little bit better, it'd be easier to see. But you basically get an idea of how big the buildings around you would be, which is super cool. So we're down in the same place, Honest Burgers, really cool place. I've had these burgers in Georgia. Okay, so next up, I want to show you Tbilisi, Georgia. So let me head over there. Vazhapshavela. Now, I was here before, but Tbilisi doesn't really have um, a lot of data in terms of Google Street View, which made it kind of hard for me to like get around to places that I wanted to go to. So, hold on, are we transporting out? Are we? Ooh. Yeah, this looks like the Caucasus Mountains. So, there's some streets in Georgia that I wasn't able to access, but just looking around in Street View is pretty cool. Also, the dev mentioned to me that they have this AI feature that he's really proud of. I think there's only one dev. EarthQuest AI can communicate in any language, visualize and give you information about your surroundings, suggest locations, and teleport you anywhere around Earth. Adapt to your personal need and assist in limitless applications. He said this app is a lot better with the AI function, and it's a one-time cost of, I think, the equivalent of 70 US dollars. So anyway, it's something I'll check out depending on how the feedback to this video goes. But for now, we're in Tbilisi, Georgia, and I know Tbilisi, Georgia like the back of my hand. So this is probably Lissy Lake, or it's Turtle Lake. No, this is probably Lissy Lake. Let me see if I can get down here. Yes, this is Lissy Lake, and this is an incredible spot to just go outside, um, take a walk around this entire lake, get some beer maybe if you'd like. I've been hiking up that mountain range with my friend Simon a long time ago. I've hiked up these mountains, and you can actually set up some picnic spots down here. Not mountains, these tiny hills. Um, there's music sometimes in the lake. There's a gigantic lake which sometimes is safe to swim in, sometimes it's not. There's also a restaurant down there, and there's a nice restaurant up there which I've had a lot of fun in before, but maybe they've actually closed that down now. Looks like there's some rock climbing for kids over there. Super fun, super fun. And this whole lake is around 3.3 kilometers big. Man, just looking at Lissy Lake makes me want to go back to Georgia. Anyway, um, this is the parking, but I've also walked down this entire road. It's actually on an incline, as you can see here. This hill takes you up and down all of Georgia. So I've actually walked um, from this lake down onto this road, down this hill, and then into the city where I was living with a friend of mine at that time. He's still my friend, but I was living with him at that time. Um, this is, I think, Mtwari River. I'm not really sure of the name. I never really learned names of rivers. It's just the kind of person I am. But where's Galgarini Street? That's where I lived for a long time. Hmm. Okay, can't seem to find it right now. But I'll try to see if I can get to the university where I studied in Georgia. Okay, so if that's Lissy Lake, then it shouldn't be too far away. Okay, anyway, who needs to see the university when you could see my jiu-jitsu gym? Yep, okay, so man, I've spent so much time in this area. Um, my jiu-jitsu gym was, if you see this Wendy's, you're gonna go up the road and basically just walk up there for a while, and that's a place called Legion Jiu-Jitsu. Super, super fun. Really nice place to train. It was a 20-minute walk. My house was over there, and to the left. It took me 20 minutes to get from my house to Jiu-Jitsu, which was always a nice walk. Um, Down this way, you can go into Liberty Square, Rustaveli. Fun things happening there most of the time throughout the year. And yeah, this ginormous building. There's a bus stop here, which takes you places. Let's see if I can get to the Litsay Street. Okay, yeah, this might, yeah, this is still the Wendy's. So the Wendy's down here, this is Pasanauri. It's a nice restaurant. Let's see if I can go this way. Oh, okay, we're inside Pasanauri now. So sometimes after we'd finish training, we'd come down here. It's usually more crowded than this. I think this is a picture they allowed them to take. And you can get really nice Georgian food in here. Super good. So, like I said, guys, Tbilisi doesn't really have too much data on Google Maps, which is unfortunate because it'd be super nice to walk around those places. Um, let's see. Okay, if that's the river, then this is probably Bikini, and then this would be Plaza Shawila, somewhere around here. Okay, we're near Kazbegi. So when I went to Georgia like 2016, um, that's a really long time ago. This is one of the first places I was in, and I honestly didn't like it. I didn't like being in this place, and I think I lived somewhere around here in one of these buildings. Um, More likely it was not right next to an Ikora, so somewhere over here. That's where I lived for around 2 or 3 months before I decided to move out, because we were just students and it was a few people living together in a dorm, and I didn't like it whatsoever. Anyway, Georgia, huge, huge, huge memories. Really nice place, and I go there almost every year to meet my team, to train with the people I used to train with. It's still a big piece of my life. Um, let's check out Saudi Arabia. This is where I grew up. This is where I was a baby. Okay, gave me a new keyboard this time. And yeah, this is another piece of feedback I had for this app. It would be really nice that if you were looking downwards, you'd be able to see names of places. So that would help you like travel into places that you already know easier. I know you can get the name in the sky by pressing this, but I don't know if you can do it. Maybe if it's open map window. No, this is something else. Yeah, that would be a nice feature, at least for me to have, since sometimes it's hard to find places I know. But this is Hafuf Al Hassa, Saudi Arabia. This is where I spent 18 years of my life growing up. And this is basically the drive into the city. Um, Saudi Arabia is a huge country, and Hafuf is like a tiny place there. It's not really super tiny, but compared to other cities like Riyadh and um, like Dammam, Hafuf is more of a small town, I would call it, and it gives you a vibe like um, everyone's been in this city for a little while. People who you find in Hafuf have typically lived there, and it's nice. It's honestly a nice place to be. The food is incredible. The people are friendly. There's so many foreigners. There's so many Saudis. There's so many people of all kinds here. This drive used to be my way to school. We went to a British school. It was called Nada, and it was somewhere up the road. I honestly don't have the best memories from that school other than my friends, but that's a story for another time, maybe. Can I close this? Yeah. Um, so yeah, we you could go down to the National Guard Hospital this way, and if you keep going down this road, it's where I used to live for probably the longest time when I lived in Saudi. Let me see. Can I get an out of street view? Yeah. Okay. The change in scenery is incredible. Yeah, so this is close to where I lived, and my granddad would take me out here sometimes. So I spend a lot of time in this area in general because we moved from one house to another and was almost always in the same area. Um, Last time I was there was like 2 or 3, actually 1 year ago, maybe less. I'm curious, do they have the time machine for this plate? No. So my dad worked in a hospital that was used to be around this area, and we lived right behind it down the road. So one of the houses over there, there's one of the biggest mosques. It's really beautiful inside and outside. Um, and yeah, Al Hassa, dude, looks really nice. So this is where my dad used to work, but they shut down this hospital now, and he works somewhere else now. Really cool seeing it, the Coral Plaza Hotel. So I used to take this walk a couple of times. It's not the most walkable place, but it's also nice. Okay, let's see. To end this journey, let's go to New York. And yeah, I really enjoyed this app. I feel like um, it's much better than the first time I used it because now I understand how to use it more, and that actually makes it way more fun. Um, I will be trying out the AI features at some point to get a better idea of um, how that would work, since the dev spoke very highly of it. And as for the 3D bits, personally, if you could like shrink yourself to this size, walk around the city in really high quality, that's something I'd be happy to do. But right now, I don't think the feature is 100% there. Holy, where am I? Is this New York? Hey, take me over there. Take me to the real New York. Is that New Jersey? What the hell? I mean, the walking around in New York feels really nice once the buildings load in, because you get to see a scale, get to have a sense of the scale of the city. So let's see what this is, because that's loaded in better. Right, so I'm around eye level now to these buildings. Whoa. And you get to understand that New York is a city with a lot larger buildings. Oh, where am I? A lot larger buildings than at least I'm used to, which is really cool because imagine walking around and looking at a building that big every single day on your way to work. That's really nice. Oh, look, now it's loading in higher resolution textures. Wow, okay. Do we have access to the time machine? Okay. So you can switch between real life mode and 3D mode, which is still loading in. Is that Sephora? Yep. So even 3D mode is pretty cool actually. Once these textures load in, I bet it'd be super cool to just walk around here. There's a Verizon store. Yeah, it's actually starting to feel a lot more like New York, New York. Although some of the pictures in New York are low resolution. Anyway, guys, as this loads in, I'm gonna do my outro. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you think you'd like to see more videos like this. I don't really do app videos on my channel too much, but I want to start doing more Quest videos. So if you do think that's a good idea, please let me know. And thank you so much to the dev for giving me a chance to look at your app and be as honest and open as I can about it. And I will look forward to doing a video about the AI features soon. If uh, if people are interested, I'll go ahead and buy that. Thank you guys. Dark Ruler, aka Blackheart909, signing off from New York.